Big Meech's fairy tale homecoming is being ruined by some crazy rumors. We will get to exactly what those rumors are shortly. Big Meech, Mr. BMF, was originally sentenced to 30 years in prison in 2008 for money laundering, trafficking, and a slew of other charges that comes with running a criminal organization. Now, the 30 years was actually a plea deal. That was actually them going light on Big Meech. He actually pled guilty to that. Even though he was originally sentenced to 30 years in prison, due to the laws changing, the Second Step Act, etc., Big Meech sentences have been reduced a couple of times. And yesterday, we woke up to some fantastic news that Big Meech was released from federal custody.
Yesterday, it popped up on the BOP website that Demetrius Flannery, a.k.a. Big Meech, was released from federal prison. So when this happened, of course, online started going crazy. People, honestly, I think people were calling me as if something happened, like something. I don't get phone calls like this unless something bad happens. Mm-hmm. People were blowing my phone up. So when you looked into it, I spoke to a source who said, yes, he was released from BOP custody as far as federal prison. But all they could tell me at the time was there are conditions to his release. So I'm like, okay, conditions to a release like that, you done did all these years in prison, normally means you go into a halfway house. They about to, you're still technically in custody. So what happens is he left federal prison in Florida, and then he's going to be finishing out his sentence in a halfway house. He was transferred on Tuesday from FCI Coleman to a low security confinement overseen by the BOP. So the BOP has this office in Miami. It's like a residential reentry management office. Mm-hmm. So they put you in these programs to help you transition back into the community.
Society, yep.
Yeah, into society. So he's expected to be released from the halfway house in January of 2016. And that's according to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. But
the streets back. The streets are back. Meech home. Meech, welcome back. Salute, my all my other G's coming to the crib. That Nino Breeze finna drop tomorrow. What type of are you? You better get ready for this ride, because the streets is back. Let us know what type of hustler are you? What type of go-getter are you? Are you a leader or a follower? If you're a follower, just sit back, put on your seatbelt, and go for the ride.
Boosie welcomed him back as well. Boosie said, welcome back, Big Meech. #legend. LeBron James welcomed Big Meech back. A lot of people is really excited for Big Meech to be back. Even Tyrese welcomed Big Meech back. A lot of people are saying, bro, he's about to bring the streets back. He's about to bring back the Atlanta strip clubs. It's about to go crazy. Sexy Red want to perform at this party for free. A lot of people is excited to see Big Meech. The entire industry right now is waiting at the feet of Big Meech, waiting for him to come home. But not everybody is happy about Big Meech coming home. A kingpin from St. Louis called Cuffy, who was a part of the BMF St. Louis division, he was sentenced to 27 years in prison for racketeering, trafficking, and other charges. Well, him and his family are now being really public about them believing and thinking and stating for a fact that Big Meech told on him. And Big Meech is the reason why he's been sentenced to 27 years in prison. So they don't believe that Big Meech should be celebrated. As a matter of fact, they believe that Big Meech should be condemned as a rat when he comes home.
I'm Tamara Gatling. I'm making this recording in regards to my dad. He's Dion Gatling. Most people know him as Cuffy. But I wanted to make this recording so I can shed light on some facts. My dad was set up by one of his best friends, which is Demetrius Flannery, also known as Big Meech. My dad and Meech have been friends for 30 years plus. I've known Meech my whole life. I look at him like an uncle. Like, this situation has been completely devastating on so many different levels, and there's still so many questions that aren't answered. At this point, I can only shed light on what I know for sure to be facts, and hopefully one day I will have the complete truth. But in 2011, around that time, Meech reached out to my dad in regards to creating a BMF movie. So Meech hooked my dad up with a woman named Tammy Cohen's. At the time, Tammy was Meech's power of attorney. Also, she owned the life rights. So my dad was working with Meech, Tammy, T, basically trying to work on a movie deal. So
Tammy at the time was doing everything for Big Meech. Power of attorney, person who handled the businesses, manager, everything. So when Gatlin got introduced to Tammy, when Cuffy got introduced to Tammy, Cuffy didn't think nothing of it. She's this little white girl, who's hot, who Big Meech is probably smashing on the side, but, she handling business for Meech. Okay, we gonna work. So then Tammy and Cuffy began to work closely, and Tammy got into Cuffy's business, started learning a lot about the dealings of St. Louis BMF, that division, what was going on, what packs were being moved. Tammy pretty much got a lot of insight into everything because Meech and Tammy was cool, so Cuffy trusted Tammy. Now, eventually, while they were working on this script, the script got done. It was time to sell the movie to a huge network. Right when it was time to sell the movie, get the deal finalized, Cuffy got arrested over a drug deal gone wrong.
finally arrested my dad and we received the discovery. He knew exactly who CS1 was, and he told me and my mom that it was Tammy Cohen's. At that time, we really did not want to believe. We wanted to give Meech the benefit of the doubt. It was really, really hard to believe that Meech would set my dad up. It was almost unbelievable. So we were able to reach out, get a message to Meech, and basically let him know that Tammy was an informant. We later received a message from him saying that it had to be a misunderstanding. Just call her, she'll straighten this out, so on, so on. And at this time, my dad was like, I'm not dumb. I'm not about to call an informant.
The reason why Cuffy was so confident that Tammy, the woman that Big Meech told him to start working with, the reason why he was so confident that she was an informant, because the paperwork laid it all out for him. Here's what the paperwork says, and here's what convinced Cuffy that Tammy was an informant all this time. I'll break the paperwork down for you guys in layman terms before we really read the actual transcript. The feds believed that Cuffy was working for BMF and had the St. Louis BMF division on lock. Now, the feds really wanted Cuffy because Cuffy was involved in murders and all type of nonsense, but the feds wanted Cuffy, and they wanted him badly. So what they did was, because Cuffy had close ties to BMF and he was running the St. Louis BMF, they just tied it all in together. Now, Cuffy believed that because the feds wanted him badly, the feds offered Big Meech some time off, a sentence reduction that he wasn't qualified for, but automatically became qualified after Cuffy was arrested. So Cuffy believes the feds offered Big Meech that, as well as Big Meech was incentivized to get him arrested so he wouldn't have to cut him in on the Stars deal that was going through with 50 Cent for the BMF movie. So the paperwork reads, Cuffy was a member of St. Louis BMF and was an associate of Big Meech, had substantial ties to multiple BMF members, had been indicted in the Eastern District of Missouri on drug trafficking charges, and was sentenced at one point to 120 months incarceration for drug trafficking. The affidavit asserted that based on information from CS1, which is a confidential informant, and an independent investigation by DEA, St. Louis agents, Suarez owned and operated a trucking company in California and had been investigated and arrested without conviction for a suspected drug trafficking in 2005 and 2009. In addition, investigation by DEA St. Louis agent reveals 2 large quantity drug seizures from a truck operated by Suarez Trucking Company. So the feds are saying, yo, this person came to us with information that Big Meech, well, not Big Meech, but Cuffy was working with this guy who owned a trucking company called Fidel Suarez. He's already been convicted for trafficking huge drugs. So you guys have all knowledge to look into Suarez guy, because I'm telling you guys, he was already arrested for trafficking huge drugs at some point, and he's working with Cuffy. So the CS1, which Cuffy believes is Tammy, would only have this information because Tammy knew everything about everybody in regards to BMF, because she had really close ties to Big Meech. But it gets even scarier, right? It gets really scarier. So the affidavit attested that based on information that CS1, which they believe is Tammy, provided to DEA Atlanta agents, Big Meech and Suarez became associated while both were incarcerated and for monetary gain. Big Meech arranged through Tammy for Suarez to provide cocaine in multiple kilogram quantities to Cuffy. Now, they believe, from Cuffy perspective, he believes that Big Meech and Tammy purposely provided the plug with Suarez because their plan was to set him up and catch him red-handed and, pretty much lead him into the feds' hands. So Tammy, according to Cuffy now, set up the play. Big Meech told Tammy, hey, yo, connect Suarez and Cuffy. Suarez had the pounds. Cuffy knew how to trap. Connect them two. After Tammy connected them two now, and the distribution started, Cuffy now believes that Tammy then started telling the feds everything they needed to know about where the routes were, when the routes were like being picked up, Cuffy's involvement with these routes, and that's how Cuffy was caught. Now, Cuffy believes that Big Meech did this on purpose to cheat him out of his percentages for the BMF movie that they were selling to 50 Cent and Stars, as well as to get a sentence reduction because the feds wanted Cuffy really badly. Here is Cuffy himself explaining what took place.
What Meech and Tammy did is called because you're not in the system. Thank God you're not. I hate to see brothers in this system, but brothers who are familiar with this system, this is a nasty, nasty system. What Meech and Tammy did was called a third-party cooperation. What happened was...
This call is from a federal prison.
Originally, I was put with Tammy. I paid for the script. I paid $250,000. That's my script. What happened was, homie, I wasn't even the original target. They wanted to get a little Mexican. He's actually a cartel member out of L.A. named Suarez. You'll see his name in the paperwork, Fidel Suarez. He was their initial target. You feel me?
Right.
He was their initial target. But with me calling in while they were trying to set up Fidel Suarez, she clicked over and told the Fed, or the agents who was listening to her and Suarez, hold on, this is Cuff. And when they heard the name Cuff, they went fucking crazy. And that's when her and Meech turned the scheme toward me. You feel me? So what it did was, this is what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to give Meech a time cut for her cooperation and set me up. But also, it kills two birds with one stone. It puts me in jail, and now they don't have to split any of the revenue with me. My buddy and my partner along with me his name is Louis Burrell. That's MC Hammer's big brother.
That's who Tammy was coming out here to see.
He would say that he first started getting some inkling that Tammy and Big Meech were up to no good because the first deal came in from, I believe, Stars or some company or some network where he would get 20% and his partner would also get 20%. And then Big Meech and them would also get their percentage. So Big Meech will get 60% and then Cuffy will get 20%. And then Nate Burrell will also get 20%. And Nate Burrell is, I believe Nate Burrell is MC Hammer's big brother, who was also working with Cuffy. So when the first deal came in, Tammy was the one who was negotiating everything. She turned it down. And they're like, what? The deal is perfect. It's for M's. We getting paid. Me's getting paid. Why y'all turning this down? According to Cuffy, they turned it down because, they had planned all along to stall this out until the feds pick up Cuffy. So now they can just cut ties with Cuffy completely and run off with the script and the money.
Why Tammy would turn down that deal with me and Louis Burrell getting 20% of that budget. You understand what I'm saying? For a finder's fee. So So what ended up happening was we didn't know that they had other plans and that she was sleeping with the feds and that and that they would put me off in prison and run away with my script and don't have to give me anything. So it was supposed to give Meech a time cut and knock me out of my percentage, me and Louis Burrell out of our percentage for the finder's fee with Lionsgate's film. Well, Lionsgate, when Louis went, so they backdoored us. Lionsgate shot it down when Louis Burrell wasn't no longer a part of it. You feel me?
Right.
So Tammy's whole thing fell apart. Meech couldn't get a time cut because they found out Tammy has no credibility. Because when you can't have a relationship with a federal agent, now you have no credibility. So they thing blew up. They thing fell all the way apart and blew up. That's why Meech didn't get a time cut.
That was a lot. I don't know who you believe. If you believe Cuffy, you believe Cuffy. If you believe Big Meech, you believe Big Meech, bruh. Blue Da Vinci is also co-signing Cuffy's story, and he believes Cuffy is telling the truth, man. So I guess at this point in time, bruh, is whatever you believe. But these snitching allegations, man, are starting to go viral on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, and they're starting to take steam now. And the one thing we know, bruh, black folks love a good snitching allegation. Right, Big Meech is going to be asked about this in every podcast he does. Hopefully he has a good explanation for what's going on. But this is sad, man. Y'all let me know in the comment section. What do you guys think about this, man? All right, is Big Meech guilty? Is he not guilty? Let me know. And if you're still watching, man, click on this video right here on my screen, bro, to find out how Lil Reese is absolutely cooked. Like, he is absolutely done. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.